Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today I'm very excited to introduce the new rig that I ended up getting. So many of you guys know, everybody say hi.
Hi.
Crushed it. Many of you guys know I was considering getting a 2020 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro in the Army Green here to wrap up the saga. To have three of the four, right, Army Green TRD Pros minus the Sequoia, which I'm not a fan of. So I did not end up getting the Tacoma. So I ended up getting a 2013 Toyota FJ Cruiser Trail Teams Edition. So many of you guys, if you follow my channel, you're very familiar with Toyotas at large, so you're probably pretty familiar with this rig here. So I'll just do a fairly quick rundown of what it is and introduce it to you guys and kind of tell you what went into actually getting it. So the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro was about $42,000. And that was a really good deal. It was a couple $1,000s below invoice, well $1,500 below invoice, which is an unheard of price tag on TRD Pros. But you know, between coronavirus happening right now and dealerships not getting a whole lot of foot traffic, and the fact that I was a returning customer helped a little bit too. That's kind of what brought down the price. The FJ here, and most of these, if you guys know, I mean, if you get a really clean example with what you got there, Peanut, they're upside down. If you get a clean example with low miles, and when I say low miles, I'm talking like 50,000 or less. You're talking anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000, depending on where you're getting it, of course. And I don't know about you guys, but that's a tough pill to swallow to some degree, especially since these cost right around $37,000 to $38,000 brand new back in 2013. So kind of tough to bite that bullet to some degree, knowing like, hey, if I just would have pulled the trigger 7 years ago, I wouldn't have lost any money and would have enjoyed it for 7 years. So, but they sustained that price tag for a good reason. So buying this, in my opinion, is not a bad idea whatsoever for the long run. If I end up keeping it for a couple of years, I can really enjoy it, put a couple of my own personal touches on it, and potentially even sell it for what I paid or even a little bit more, depending on come that time, of course. We'll see where the popularity of these continue to go, and of course where the economy takes us. That will obviously play a part in that puzzle. But anyway, guys, like many folks who are looking at this rig here, I was looking for a perfect clean example of it, unmolested with stock wheels, stock suspension, and low miles, right? So that's kind of what I was looking for. And I found a few. There's definitely not a lot out there. You really got to look for it. It's like the third grade hottie. That's what the FJ Cruiser Trail Teams is. You gotta work for it. You gotta pursue her to get it. You don't just kind of stumble upon it. And that's what I was doing. I was looking nationwide, and I was finding a few of them, through forums and stuff. But they all tend to be right around that $38,000, $40,000 mark. The ones that I was interested in, and I just, especially during current times, traveling is not really an option. So I figured I wasn't going to get one for a while. Then, magically enough, this one popped up on, of all places, Facebook Marketplace. Right, it just kind of popped up as a recommended as I was kind of strolling through one day, and I was like, huh. And the price tag was definitely ideal as is. And I was like, what, if I can look at this and if it checks out okay, and if the dealership drops the price, I think it's something I'll strongly consider. So there's a few things I don't like about it. I personally, like I mentioned, I don't like the fact that it has aftermarket wheels and tires on it. Tires I don't really care so much about. The wheels, I personally love the TRD wheels that come on the 2013s, the 2014s, and I think the 2010, the Sandstorm model. I'm talking about the silver ring around the perimeter, the bead lock, and then the black inside. So I personally love that. I think it's like one of the things that makes it really special. So I've already ordered those. I'm putting those on with BFG Goodwrench KO2s that I've ordered. So those are coming here in a minute. But so that's one thing I wasn't a huge fan of, is these ones, but I knew I could probably take them off and sell them for a fair amount. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm taking those off, I'm selling those, and then I'm putting on the ones I really love. And then just cleaning it up a little bit, because it was like the black here was faded pretty good. The black plastics around the body, and I already kind of touched those up a little bit with back to black. So stuff like that. I mean, there's a few turnoffs right when I got there, you know, and you can tell the individual who had this before me, he used it. I mean, he used it for what it's supposed to be used for, and thankfully, I mean, when I drive it around, I mean, it doesn't feel beat up or anything. You can tell the gentleman, you know, made it the way he wanted it to actually be, you know, purposeful off-road. So I'll show you here a few things. So obviously the bigger tires, I mean, these are slightly bigger wheels. The stock ones are 16-inch. These are 17s. And the tires on it right now are 285s, 70, 17s. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's right there. But these are Anthem off-road wheels. They cost right around $800 for the set of 4 of them. But in here, I know the lighting is not ideal, guys, but let's see if I can get it. So he has Fox suspension in here. With Freedom Off-Road, upper control arms, you know, I think it's just lifted maybe an inch or two all around, which I like. I'm okay with that to some degree. I mean, as long as it wasn't totally thrashed on. So I like that he used, you know, good parts on it, not totally cheaped out on everything. So I appreciate that. Not to mention, it allowed me to get my 16-inch TRD wheels on it, the ones that came on at OEM, and then put on 285, 75, 16 BFG Goodwrench tires. So I look forward to doing that. I look forward to seeing what they look like overall. Obviously, you got the similar to the Predator steps that come on the new Pros, right? And the new this new Toyotas at large, similar to those. You got those on it. And then you got this front bumper piece here, which I'm not a huge fan of. I didn't like it, but you know, it doesn't look bad. Just not, I don't know, not my cup of tea really. This is not really the most, the nicest brand either. They're pretty cheap, pretty affordable, which isn't a bad thing, but just something I wasn't too thrilled about on it. Then this guy here, oddly enough, I did not like from the beginning this light bar across it, but it has grown on me tremendously. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but they had the Toyota, the classic heritage Toyota logo across normally. But these lights, the Rigid Industry, the fog lamps, and this light bar here, and they are so bright. It's actually pretty cool. So I was sold on the product pretty quick on my way home when I bought it. My wife thinks it looks like a turtle. I don't think I disagree with her. As you guys know, it has the TRD skid plate. As that, I already got the red lettering for that skid plate, the TRD, to match both the Tundra and 4Runner here. No, but overall, I'm very pleased with it. Definitely look forward to enjoying it. They are a ton of fun to drive, I think. I mean, similar to the 4Runner, you know, great turning radius. Surprisingly spacious. My wife, she popped back in the middle of the back seat and kind of hung out with the kids the other day, or yesterday, and she had her feet kicked up in the middle and through the center. She's like, this is pretty comfy. So, surprisingly spacious with the suicide doors here. I'll show you here in a sec. So if you guys are familiar with the Trail Teams models or the TRD special editions that have been offered through the years since the beginning of FJ Cruisers, or this generation rather, I'll show you the back here too. You know, similar to the TRD Pros, they came with a specialty color each year. So going through the specialty colors back in 2008, before they were technically deemed Trail Teams editions, I think it was the TRD Special Edition. I think they had Iceberg. It's a white color, obviously. That was their specialty color for that, with the monotone. You know, with normally they have the white top. You guys know that. But then in 2009, they did not have a specialty color. 2010, they had a color called Sandstorm, which is equivalent to the Quicksand that you see on modern Toyotas, the newer rigs. Then in 2011, we had Army Green, which some of you may ask, why didn't you just get an Army Green one? We'll talk about that here in a second. 2012, we had Radiant Red. 2013, we had this here, Cement Gray. the 2014 Heritage Blue, which is either the same or very, very similar to Calverley Blue. I think it might be the same. The Calverley Blue that you see on the newer rigs, like the 2018s. So at any rate, so why did I get the 2013? Why did I get this over the Army Green, since I already have 2 Army Greens, right? Why didn't I just finish it off that way? I really considered it, but if you guys are familiar at all, I mean, 2013 they introduced the crawl control on FJs. I don't think they offered it in just the trail teams. I think they offered it at large for all FJ cruisers, but they added this to it. So you guys are familiar with that. Different speed settings and helping you crawl up rough terrain or crawl down slowly in a controlled fashion. But with the Army Green and like the Radiant Red, the different colors, they had matching body paint panels. So like right here on the red, the Radiant Red is red. The seats, not all of them, but they had the matching seat color here and the color, the seat inserts. This centerpiece, the biggest part was, the centerpiece in matching color. I think that is a big turn off when it comes to like all the unique colors. I mean, obviously gray is simple. It kind of already looks, I don't know, simple enough to where it could be not an eyesore. Like with the Radiant Red, they even have red. It's red right here, and I think red down below, and it just looks really bad in my personal opinion. It just looks corny. So that was a big turn off for me, and the same goes for Army Green. I just didn't like it. It's my personal opinion though. So I know some people really enjoy it. Let me pop the hood real quick.
Daddy,
Hi, Peanut.
I'm a super puppy.
You're gonna do what?
Super puppy.
You're gonna be a super puppy? Awesome. So you guys are probably familiar with this power plant. This 4.0 6-cylinder, I think right around 239 horsepower. Has a K&N air filter here, air intake. I don't know if you can see it too well. But that's about it as far as aftermarket performance goodies. Got this the Tiger bumper like we talked about. I'm trying to think, we talked about the lights. Let me fire it up real quick. So I really love the ruggedness of it. You get everything is plastic or rubber, even underneath this, just fully plastic, right? So I mean the concept of wheeling, going off-road and getting it real dirty and muddy and spraying it out wasn't too far-fetched from their original mindset. And I'll show you this, how conducive it is for little ones. Obviously not the same space that you get in the Tundra, but it works, Both of them are just fine in here, between just popping that up and the suicide doors, the opening like this, being fully open, actually makes it pretty simple to toss them in here. So, I don't know. So, anybody who has kiddos and they're considering an FJ or having that argument with their wife, it really isn't that bad. So, and I mean that. We'll fire it up real quick. So 63,000 miles. Turn this on. You can see it too well. A lot of people are not a big fan of this just because it's really very simple, right? But then again, for the same reason, a lot of people love it. The simplicity behind it is I don't know, something to appreciate. Just giant knobs, super easy to use. Of course, you get the Trail Teams badge over there. Yeah. So overall, not too bad a shape at all, and for what I paid for it, I'm definitely very happy with it. Real simple controls, phone, volume control channel, cruise control down there you see. So yeah, real straightforward, guys. I personally don't think he could have done this a little bit better, but obviously the fog lights and light bar that are up front, super bright. then here's your, there you go, four-wheel drive there. All right. Well, we'll start wrapping up the video here. It's already kind of long, I know. Really, for me, it was between the 2014 Ultimate Edition and the 2013 here. I personally prefer the cement gray over the Heritage Blue, but you know, both of them I really liked. I do like the fact that, of course, the 2014 was the last year of it. It was the final tribute with this generation in the US. So I liked that, and it was the one of 2,500, although I think they all were very limited in that regard. But it was between those two, and especially I really, like I mentioned, I really enjoyed the TRD wheels that came on those, the 2014, the 2013 here, and the 2010, the Sandstorm. So at any rate, guys, just wanted to do a quick video, and I turned into a little bit of a longer one, but I just wanted to introduce it to you and let me know what you think. Did I make the right call? Was this the better option compared to the Tacoma TRD Pro? As always, I appreciate you watching. Until next time. Say bye, Zillow.